me! Remember me, sir! Stop, I say!
Hey gang, Uncle Todd and Sunny here, and for our second week of Thanksgiving holidays, I think I'm forgetting something. Right, hold on, that's better. Forgot my bloody apron for this month's feast films, and finally remembered the tree this time, although I did forget to turn that on during my clapperboard section. Oh well, as I was saying, we are in the sometimes confident hands of Jess Franco with Oasis of the Zombies. This is one of his work for hire films. So he just filmed the script, so it's fairly coherent, unlike some of his personal projects like Succubus or The Bare-Breasted Countess, in which they have more of a dreamlike stream of consciousness flow to the plot, and due to his love of jazz, he liked to film that way, just film as he went along. Ray Jenner Steckler was like that too. Anyways, this is a Nazi zombie flick, and it concerns buried treasure. Somewhat similar to the probably better well-known Dead Snow, in which a bunch of skiers come upon a cached Nazi gold and then go through a hilariously slapsticky splatstick kind of adventure fighting them off. Not so here. There's two versions. This was a French-Spanish co-production. Most European horror films of low budgets usually had multiple companies that would fund the film and then would get their own cuts for their territories. And the only real difference here is that two of the characters, namely Kurt and his wife, were played by two different actors in the Spanish version. The Spanish version featured Lynn Renee, who was Franco's paramour, muse, and they had a very successful relationship, decades long. Despite the almost 30-year age difference between the two. She became his muse after his first muse from the early 70s, late 60s, Soledad Miranda, died young in a tragic car accident. So Liz Renee was featured in the Spanish version as Kurt's wife, not so in the French version, which is the one we're looking at. Gotta keep those in. European films, especially the genre ones, can get very confusing in their production history. But we open with two women driving a jeep through the desert when they come upon an oasis, and they start wandering around. And we learn very quickly whether or not this is indeed a Jess Franco film.
Come on, let's do something exotic, she said. So here we are, looking at romantic palm trees. I should have stayed home. The sea half a mile down the road, beaches, the riding ranch next door, lobster.
You're not rugged, it's true.
Oh yeah, it's a Franco film, all right. Anyway, they wander around a bit, bicker, and then they start getting spooked.
I'm getting back to the car.
You know what? You're no fun.
Good thing we didn't get too attached to them because they're out of the rest of the film. Next, we are introduced to an ex-Nazi soldier named Kurt, who, along with his wife, is going to meet an Englishman named Blabart. And they discuss the war, and seems there was this convoy that got ambushed and all the soldiers were killed, and they were Kurt's compatriots, and he just wants to go and pay his respects, you know. Yeah, he knows there's this whole story about the dead rising and all that, but Kurt's just interested in paying tribute.
Liar! Liar!
What? Blabar, he's sure. Okay. He's giving him the risks, so he gets out a map and shows him. I think I'm going to learn to hate this guy.
It's not nice to hate.
Maybe. This guy's making him too easy. Anyways, he steals the map and heads out. Where next we are introduced to a college student named Robert. Robert's son. And when he's notified of his father's death due to heart attack, he starts going through his papers and stuff and comes upon an interesting diary that talks about his father's war adventures. To wit, he was the one who led the ambush at an Oasis of a German convoy. That is by far the most exciting part of the entire film. Lots of soldiers, lots of explosions and gunfire and everything. Mainly because it came from an earlier film from the 70s called Heroes Without Glory, an Italian war film. Anyways, Blabert is the only survivor, and he's heavily wounded. But he is found by the local sheik, Al-Kafir, and he takes him back to his residence and gets him nursed back to health. That is the sheik's daughter, Aisha, and she's the one who nurses him back to health. And during his recovery, you know, they fall in love. And so the day before he needs to return to active service and rejoin his troops and such, well, you know. Of course, after that he returned to the front, where he fought for the next 2 years Then, after the war was finally finished, he returned to the Al-Kafir residence, only to find his beloved had died giving birth to his son. So he took his son and returned to England. And it's also here that we learn the reason that Kurt wanted to go to that oasis. Gold. Huge shipment of gold they were transporting. So, Robert, taking what little of inherited money he had, convinces his friends. Let's see who we got here. We have Robert. Oh no, that's no. We have Ahmed, his girlfriend, or Robert's girlfriend Sylvia, his friends Ahmed, and who's the other guy? Where is it? Ronald. And they started heading over to the Middle East. Meanwhile, Kurt and his band have arrived and they've set up camp in the Oasis. That night, it doesn't look like they're gonna make it. Sorry. After setting up camp, they retire for the night, but don't get a very restful evening. Man, those are some gnarly looking zombies there. Kind of liking their look, kind of blackened and desiccated, as you would get being buried in desert sand, as opposed to like the drippy kind you get in regular zombie movies. Anyway, zombies been having a lot of fun, but it's always that time when you gotta call it quits. Hey, even monsters need to get their rest. Well, next we are subjected to a lot of travelogue footage as our Scooby Gang wanders through the bazaars and watches the daily prayers, and then they meet someone who might even become important later on.
Boy, we work for Professor Zanakin. And doesn't the name mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't. You got you.
And that lovely lady there is the professor's assistant, Erica. And she's very important because she learns the whereabouts of the crazy man who knows the location of the Oasis. And so everybody heads over there. Guess who it turns out to be? Kurt. And Robert tries to get some information out of him.
Cut! The Oasis! Where's the Oasis? Where's the Oasis?
Come on,
You
can't
got
you
to
see
tell
it's
me where it
dying?
is. Where is it, Cut?
The place is done.
Oops. Think he killed him. Anyways, because he had encountered the living dead and the bite marks to prove it, the locals burn his body and explain to the professor they have to. They can't run the risk of him coming back the next night. Good to know. Meanwhile, Ronald and Erica hook up for some a little morning swim and
Sex.
I'm going to assume yes. Anyway, after a hasty goodbye, Erica leaves with the professor and his group on their expedition out into the desert. Wonder if we'll see them again. Wonder if they're looking for the same thing.
Perhaps.
Well, no time to ponder. Robert's got more important things to do, like meeting his grandfather, who welcomes him and his friends very graciously. And when he learns that Robert wants to go to the Oasis, he's reluctant to tell him where it is, but eventually he says he'll take him there, sorta.
Keep going south. Due south.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Yep, he's only going to take him maybe halfway and then go that way. Good luck. So they drive. And drive. And drive. And they finally get there. And they make a very curious discovery.
Hey, look, a car. It's Professor Zanakin's rover.
What's it doing here?
Yes, it's Anakin's. It's really strange.
Perhaps he was just there looking for the Nazi artifacts. Didn't know about the gold. Who knows? Well, they search and they find his assistant's dead. But what about Erica?
Oh. I'm not...
I'm not dead.
Well, that's good to know. Now they just have to find the professor.
The sand. They came out of the sandwiches here. The dead. They walk. They're alive.
And he collapses. Now, they get him set up, give him some water, let him rest, he'll recover. Erica comes to and tells them everything. And then when they still decide to stay, she is flabbergasted.
You still want to stay here? You don't believe me, do you? And you never
Sure,
will.
we'll believe you. We'll dig in the daytime and we'll stand watch at night.
We'll take shifts.
Well, I don't want to be one of those kind of film reviewers, but, there is that other Jeep that belongs to the professor. They could load him in that, and Erica could take him back to the city. What possible reason could she have to stay?
So that's why we're here now. And that's how we happened to meet. $6 million plus you.
And you know what? I won't ask you which comes first.
You fell victim to one of the classic blunders.
I'll say, greed's a powerful thing. Well, since her new boyfriend's going to be rich, you know what that means?
Sex.
Well, yeah, we haven't had any real nudity in the film yet, so... And it's intercut between them with, shots of zombies coming up out of the ground. A long stretch of zombies coming up out of the ground. But finally, after over an hour, finally going to get some zombie action.
No! No! No!
Poor Ahmed. Now this does lead to probably the one truly creepy sequence the film has. See what I mean? Creepy. Well, of course, they quickly realize they're being stumbled upon, and luckily, they've got the professor there.
They're everywhere. Fire! Build a fire!
What do you mean?
Fire's the only thing that stops them. We've got to hold out till dawn.
Good thinking. So they go to the Jeep and grab the extra gas to get bring a fire around the small area so they can fight them off.
Well, hurry up!
It's heavy. No!
Fell for that again. Man, they got a signature move. Good thing Ronald's there. No, I don't know why he did that. Yeah, I think that was...
And stupid.
Of course they get eaten. Anyway, thanks to some Molotov cocktails they also make, Robert and Sylvie managed to make it through the night, at which point, with the coming of the dawn, okay, cheap effect, but that was creepy. Well, they then start walking back. I will assume that's because they used up all the gas defending themselves. But eventually they collapse into the sand, but luckily his grandfather comes upon them.
Did you find what you were looking for?
I mainly found myself.
What?
That's just what? Oh, it's too much for Sunny. She bolted on that one. She loves zombie flicks. Yeah. Well, anyways, Sylvia and Robert decide to return with his grandfather to his home, and so we just kind of see them driving off into the desert, heading back to. Well, no, at this point he's still got the Jeep, so I don't know why they were walking. It's a Jess Franco film. What are you going to do? As zombie films go, it's pretty weak. There's a lot of filler. Long shots of them digging. Long shots of the zombies coming out of the ground. Long shots of them wandering around the city. And then we finally get the zombies, and it's like the last 15 minutes before they do anything really exciting, and then it's over. This is one very long, boring film. No real characters. It's one of those things like they describe, in the plot, and then. Two women show up at the Oasis and are killed. And then Kurt kills Blobber. And then Robert gets his friends together to go to the thing. And then Kurt gets attacked by the zombies. And then, just on and on and on and on. Nothing leads to. So you either go and then or which leads to. That's something Trey Parker and Matt Stone described about writing. And yeah, the really exciting part is the action scene that they took from a higher budgeted film, which was pretty smart. And they just intercut shots of of Blobbert in his uniform firing his gun, so that it looks like he's actually part of the action. That's well done. But it's one of Jess Franco's weaker films. As I said, it was a work for hire, so he was just shooting it because they were paying him to. He himself said he never really cared for zombie movies, although he made several. So, like Virgin Among the Living Dead and such. And started to make Zombie Lake, but then had a falling out with the makers, and so Jean Reno was brought in to handle that one, which caused a great deal more nudity to put in, but it also gave you the added talent of Howard Vernon, who was a Franco regular, although he wasn't in this one. Yeah, not really much to say about this one. It's just something you'd put on a double bill at the bottom half, just to have two films. Yeah, that's about it to say for it. Mild nudity, mild gore. If you're looking for a really good zombie movie, not this one. You'd be better off looking for, like, Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, or hell, even Erotic Nights of the Living Dead's better than this, and that's basically a porno. Anyways, please like, share, subscribe, and stay after the credits for my favorite scene.